Hello, I am super stoked for you to hear today's episode. I've got somebody really special to me personally here as my guest today. She was a dietitian. Now she's almost completed her doctorate of nursing. She's one of, honestly, the most incredible people I know, one of my very best friends in the entire world. And we're going to talk today about healthy body image. And she's got a lot of really, really good things to say about it. So enjoy my conversation with my sister, Jody Klein McHugh, and enjoy our literally identical laughs. So she's here. She's got lots to say. And I'm just so happy you get to hear from her life and her expertise on healthy body image. So enjoy. My sis, Jody. But I want to key in on your area of expertise. Yes. So you are a dietitian.
Yep.
And right now you're in the middle of pursuing your doctorate in nursing.
Yes.
Or of nursing.
It's a great question.
Oh boy.
I didn't know we were going to start with such heavy hitters like this. I honestly don't know.
In or of?
In or
let's say
of.
In.
Yeah.
Oh,
a doctorate with nursing.
Not with. You were about to be a doctor. You should really Google this.
I really should.
When you leave. Should. Okay. Anyways.
Yeah. Working on
very advanced degree. And you're in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you've always had a passion for health.
Yes.
And positive body image.
Yes.
Healthy relationships with food.
Yes. Really into it.
What?
Really into it.
Really into it.
As you can attest.
Because most of our conversations. Side note, I picked Jody up at the airport a couple nights ago, and the whole 45-minute drive back, I only talked about myself and my new therapist, Randy, who I love. So
no,
I'm not. So I'm really excited for this because I get to hear about you now.
Yes.
More about you.
But you always joke that. I just remember you being like, do you remember that time we were in the movie theater and you like started crying, talking about, no, not you. I started crying.
You started, yeah. I faintly.
Talking about food and body image and how important it was to me.
Yep.
So yes, I
have a vague memory of that.
Come on. Now what movie?
Is there food? Moulin Rouge? Is there food I could eat to re-trigger the memory? Actually, there probably is. We'll get into that. We'll get into that. Okay. All that to say, you are a professional.
Yep.
And you are passionate about it as well.
Yep.
And so I want to dig into numerous different things and we'll see where to start. But first of all, tell us about Mark.
Oh, okay.
My brother-in-law.
Yes. So
Mark got a shout out on my last interview.
Really?
Yeah.
Who did you say who it is?
Well, I switch it up. Okay. So on an interview will either have already happened or coming, but
I see.
Because it was with Eugene Peterson's and the Presbyterians.
Yes,
so
yes.
I talked about Mark on it, trying to get some street cred.
Yeah.
So tell us about Mark and where you guys live, a little bit about you, and then I'll start with the heavy hitters.
So Mark is my spouse. He is a lovely human who I've known since he was 12. But I like to joke I've known him since he was about 4 foot something because he's now 6'8". Yeah. So it's been a very long journey.
Do you remember him short?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was taller than him. I cut his hair when I was taller than him. Yeah. I cut his hair when he was like 15 or 14 and he has never let me cut it since because I did such a bad job. And I'm always like, you know how much money we could save if I learned to cut Mark's hair over the course of our lifetime? Like $20,000. And I tell him this every time he goes to get his haircut. I'm like, if you just let me. Anyway.
But when he comes home from the barber, you can make a mean beef bourguignon.
Yeah, that is true. That is
and
true.
I'd rather have that
than a good haircut.
Yeah,
that's true.
Okay, so you guys know each other since
known
you were
each other
14,
for a very
15.
long time.
Yeah.
We got married. You know, we both decided we wanted to get married.
Jen. So
what?
I was pregnant with Jen.
Yeah, no, with Jude.
Oh, it was Jude.
Yeah,
so it would have been 6 years ago. Okay.
And I was really into him. He's very funny. He's very smart. He's pretty goofy. And then somewhere around very centered. And
solid.
Centers others.
100%.
Me. All the time.
He pretty much is a great centering force in the Klein family.
But somewhere around year 2 or 3, we're living in Durham, North Carolina. I have a real...
And he's pursuing his MDiv there with
exactly.
At Duke, MDiv.
With Duke.
With Duke. I'm in my head. Okay.
So we're on year 2 or 3. I get hit with a real bad case of anxiety, depression.
Yep.
Mark is incredible. And at that point, I just become genuinely obsessed with him.
Yeah. I remember
to the point that it's just weird. And it has continued. And I keep imagining that it's going to taper off at some point. Because it definitely doesn't feel sustainable, the amount that I
love him.
like him and love him.
Like him is almost even means more now.
I mean, it's intense. Yeah. It feels a lot to him sometimes. But I'm just gonna ride it till it isn't there anymore. You know,
he was your stabilizing.
Oh yeah,
centering.
I always say, the gift. We'd been married like 3 years at that point, so it's a young marriage.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
And the gift of being in a tough situation, the gift is like knowing that somebody's in it with you, and they're like not. That the harder it gets, the deeper they go. Ugh. And it is such a gift. So yeah, he's the greatest.
Amazing.
And he's a pastor.
And he's a pastor.
Like you. It's so fun. He has so many pastors.
I've cried a lot of tears to Mark.
Yeah, same.
As a
same girl.
Poor Mark. We need to send him to my therapist, Randy.
For real.
To deal with all of us. We were at Noah's wedding. Noah's our brother not his wedding, his graduation from med school.
Yeah.
And I remember I was in the kitchen with Mark sobbing. And he's just the best person to sob to.
Oh, he's amazing.
I don't know if there's a better person to sob to.
Yeah.
Maybe you.
Well, no, I would not say that is true. No.
I don't know.
He's
just so kind and empathetic. But anyways, this is not about Mark.
Well, it always,
it kind of comes back to Mark.
It's about Mark.
And that's a great friendship right there. Oh my gosh.
Except for, our Enneagram numbers.
Oh, what? Oh, no.
Do you know this?
No.
This
but no.
Funny.
I know what you are.
Yes. So I'm a 4.
You're the individualist.
Yes.
Yep.
Mark's a 2.
Which is what? Oh, the helper. That's
Which
Dustin's second, I think.
Has, I always trust a male too. Because women have been so encultured to do this that like a lot of women will over-identify as 2s. But when you meet a male too, this is my own thing.
Yeah,
I don't know if
this
it's
is
true.
Great. This is great.
When you meet a male too, it's like, oh, he's a 2. Like 2. So Mark's a 2. Whenever we read our Enneagram numbers, it's always like, 4s are challenging. 4s can be a lot. And
this is you.
This is me. Yeah. And then Mark's is always like, oh my gosh, we should all be married to a 2. They're the greatest.
If only there were more 2s to go around.
Yeah. We always joke about this. But when we read our compatibility, it says that we make better coworkers.
Really?
Yes. Specifically more than romantic relationships. Yeah. Isn't that
How
funny?
Interesting.
Yeah.
You work together.
Yeah.
Well.
Which, I mean, inevitably is like going to serve you. Whatever you have.
Sure.
It's going to be fine. But we always joke about that.
I can so see Mark as a helper now. Oh my gosh. Okay. So we love you, Mark. Shout out.
I love you so much.
Is he citing your house right now in Seattle? They just got a house in Seattle. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah. So we live in Seattle.
Yep, they live in Seattle.
The best place. I'm going to die there. It's the greatest. We bought a tiny little house that my 6'8" husband barely fits in.
But it's amazing. It's so amazing.
Yeah, we're like loving it.
Oh, and so he pastors. You are in the middle of your doctorate.
Yep.
Okay.
And I also work a little bit, but.
Yes, you do. Oh, yeah. Are you still at the
assisted living?
Yes, yes. Night shifts?
With all the 100-year-olds. Yeah.
You love
good
it,
times.
Right?
Yeah, it's hysterical.
Oh.
Yeah, it's very fun.
You have a really good story.
I mean, I got a few, most of which are probably HIPAA violations.
You're going to be a great doctorate with nursing. Great. That was a test. Amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, so I want to talk body image and health and healthy relationships with food.
Yeah.
But first of all, I want to go back to our childhood because we were raised years apart. You're 8 years younger than me, I think?
I'm 30. I'm going to be 32 this month.
Yep. So I'm about to be 40. So about 8 years. And so inevitably we grew up with different parents. Yeah, although they were the same because they're evolving and changing. But I remember from our childhood that I never one time felt any pressure to be pretty, to be, and I want to hear your experience because I don't think we've ever talked about this.
No, I don't think so either.
I'm too busy talking about Randy. But oh man, Joes, I just love talking to you. Okay, so what was I even saying? Oh, so my experience growing up, I never one time heard mom put pressure on me because we worked with youth before we took over the church,
Mhm.
and almost every girl I met with had pressure from a female,
Yes,
not male,
yes.
a female older figure in their life to be skinny, to be pretty.
Yeah.
And there was a value system placed on how you look, who you date, and what you have, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of like, and I want to hear your thoughts on culture and what it's doing to us. But I don't have any experience with that with mom.
Yeah.
So much so that I don't remember a couple years ago, after giving birth, and mom, I guess she felt like I needed to hear it. She goes, "Well, you just look so pretty." And the words coming out of her mouth
felt weird. Yeah.
And I say that in the best possible way.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's amazing.
It's amazing because I had I'm like, you think I'm pretty? It wasn't overvalued and it wasn't undervalued.
Yeah.
It was never on the table with me, which I appreciate beyond words.
Yeah.
So I grew up with this whole thing of like, looks weren't even, and I wasn't a part of, there was no internet, there were no phones. There was nothing then. And so there was nothing that kids are growing up with nowadays and what 25-year-old women are dealing with. You know? And so I am so grateful for that, but it was so weird to hear moms tell me I was pretty a few years ago. Because I'm like, what? Like that's so, and I mean, I appreciate it, but it was just like such a cool realization that like, oh my gosh. And I don't know if it was intentional or not. You can feed in later, Mom. I'm sure you will. I'm sure you would love to. She's already been on here, so she was great, as you can imagine. But I don't know if it was intentional or just the time. Yeah. But I didn't. So by the time it got really crazy, like you need to look like this and you need to have this and you need to be like, I feel like I was already in an age where my frontal lobe was developed enough.
You were like, this
did
is
you
who
have that
I am.
experience? And where did your passion for body image and health come in?
Yeah. I honestly don't. I mean, the fact that I don't remember probably means that it's the same as you, that it like really wasn't a thing. I definitely feel like I was aware of how attractive my older sisters were. So I know, like you.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You
No, I know I definitely was.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh.
I felt
Thank
that
you.
way. Yeah. And you?
An Ace over there in the corner.
So I felt that, but
Ace was.
But it was stunner.
I mean, there are no words. The sisters talk about Ace. But that's not what this is about because we are more than how we look. But seriously,
but it is an interesting thing.
Yeah, a lot of good genes went to Ace. Okay, anyways, we can cut that Ace if you want.
So I felt that from sisters, but it was definitely like an internalized thing. You know, like I don't feel like. Mom or even y'all were like projecting something onto me. I think it's more the enculturated thing that was happening in the world at that time.
Yep.
And just like women in general,
probably
like
the beginning of it.
Yeah, and just like the comparison thing that I think is like so woven into the fabric of like how we interact with other females in our lives. But yeah, no, I don't remember mom being like that at all. And I think that oftentimes when, like, I would attribute that to like, mom had a lot going on. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure she didn't like know or care if I was wearing something that matched. You know what I mean?
She has 6 kids and a last baby at 41.
Right. But the interesting thing is you were the first, which means that was not the case. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder if she wasn't too busy.
Oh, with me.
Yeah.
And it was still
like that. So I wonder if it was something that she consciously created.
Interesting.
But
so where did the passion come?
Well, so
because you went into nutrition.
Yes. Well, actually, I think
I still remember you crying over like the Snickers. Was that?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's probably the story that
that might be it in the movie theater.
The Snickers.
Yep.
I forgot about that, but that's I'm going to bring that back.
Okay.
That's
So come full circle, but like, where did it start?
Okay. So I actually wrote a paper about this not that long ago, in trying to tease out like who we are in our families, right? Because I put all of our siblings in boxes of like, okay, we've got so-and-so doing this thing with our life. We got so-and-so doing this thing. And everybody seemed to, and I think this is maybe universal, but also maybe a middle child thing. Everybody seemed to have something that made them really special and really interesting. And I did not feel that way.
At a young age.
Yeah, like 6.
Gotcha. Okay,
like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Where I was like, what do I have? What's my thing?
Yeah.
And I didn't have the guts to be like rebellious, and I didn't have the...
go smoke a cigarette and drink a glass of whiskey neat.
Yeah.
Whiskey with the neat, please.
Whiskey and neat.
At the Ole Club down on Tower. You didn't have the guts to do that. Okay,
no, yeah. So
bringing you back.
And I wasn't, I wasn't terribly athletic, or there just didn't seem to be a thing that was really obvious to me. And this is such a weird thing to decide at 6. And I'm sure that somebody randomly said something, and I was like, oh my gosh, is that my thing? And they jumped on it. But I got kind of labeled as the healthy one. I know this is so weird at 6 years old.
As much as this is amazing. I didn't even know this.
And you know what I think it was?
What?
So we all got to choose our birthday dinners.
Yes.
As children.
Yep.
Ashley always chose wiener roast.
I was going to say the wiener roast.
She claims it was for Grandpa. It wasn't. She loved the wiener roast.
Here, chiming in.
I'm crying.
We all know the truth. Let's just let her say it. She did name her child after Grandpa, though, so there might be some truth to it. It was for Grandpa. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
I cannot. Okay.
So I gotta choose my meal.
Yeah.
And
are you still 6 at this time?
Yeah, like 6, 7 is around the time I at least remember.
Yep.
But it might have been earlier. And mom and dad had a lot going on. So the way that we ate in our household was, I mean, to put it in air quotes, fend for yourself. That's
putting it nicely.
Which is totally fine.
I didn't know anything. If you don't know anything different.
Exactly.
It's great.
It's like grab the pizza pocket, or if we had them, you know what I mean?
Put the bread in the toaster.
Yes.
There's always the
saltines.
Milton's up the cul-de-sac that we can go borrow butter from.
Do you remember saltines with Kraft cheese in the microwave?
Yeah.
Sometimes butter in between. Yep. Yeah. So in our house, this was kind of the norm for food. And I remember being like, oh, you know what I want so bad is like a vegetable at 6 or 7. So I was like, you know what I want for my birthday dinner is peas and carrots and broccoli and cauliflower and mashed potatoes. So do you not remember this?
No.
So I
remember the birthday dinners, but I don't remember this birthday dinner. I started
requesting this, and this was my birthday dinner until I left. Like, well, until I got maybe like later. 16. This was like always maybe 14. This was always my birthday dinner, and I remember Angie Dabney hated it because she'd have to eat vegetables because she'd always come. She'd be like, "Oh, it's Jody's birthday. We're gonna eat vegetables.
Why can't it be the wiener roast girl?"
And I think that just probably the attention of that triggered something of like, yes, like, this is my thing.
So and I was total nurture.
Oh yes, for sure. Where I was like, okay, people are noticing that I'm choosing vegetables at my birthday dinner. Yeah. This is going to be my thing.
This is telling me something about myself.
Like I'm going to be the healthy one. So at a very young age, I think I decided that.
Yeah.
But then how I actually went into nutrition was I took a chemistry course and I just loved it. Yeah. And I was like, I don't want to be a bench scientist, like I want to work with people. And then I took a nutrition course right after it. And it's just the way that it's chemistry in our bodies, and I loved it. So initially health through a roundabout, not being sure of yourself as a 6-year-old. But you actually
really did like it.
Yeah.
Which is bizarre.
Yes. I have.
Because a lot of people feel those things especially in teen years. Yes. Like, I'm gonna.
This is,
right? But it stuck with you. Interesting.
And I honestly have always really liked, I like food. I like cooking. Like I can remember meals that Noah and I cooked in when we were 8 or 9.
Noah's our brother.
Yeah. So I do feel like food has this kind of heightened, I just like it. And I think about it a lot.
Talk about that for a minute with our relationship with food in the positive sense of like even in the Bible, Jesus, he's always either doing something with food, eating, talking.
Yes.
Like food there's something about food in cultures and in families and in what do you?
I mean, to me it feels like okay, when you're preparing something for people, you're thinking about them, right? So even if I'm going home and making something for Mark or if Mark's doing it for me, there's this care
Yeah.
And there's also this sense of like, I'm doing something that has a practical implication. Like I'm like serving and keeping people alive, right?
Literally. Yeah, food does
but
that.
It's also place, right? Like you have like the food that we ate in North Carolina was very different. I mean, globalization, there's a lot that's the same too, but still there's things that we ate there that like are so significant of that time. Right? Like we made this like lentil soup all the time and it tastes like North Carolina. And now we make these lettuce wraps in Seattle and it like tastes like our house. Yes.
It's almost like memory tracks along the way or different like smells do.
For sure.
Do you know the white lasagna you made in North Carolina for me? Well, Mark made it because you got sick.
The meat lasagna?
The meat lasagna.
That's like the best thing.
Does that taste like North Carolina to you? Have you made it?
Good. Oh, yeah. We have made it. We've only made it one time since.
That was really good.
Yeah. But like, so that meal, you start 3 days before.
So I fly in. I just want people to get a picture of you and like your passion for food and about food and health. Like I'm flying in with Genesis or Jude, one of them, to go be with Uncle Mark and Auntie Lodi. And you have prepared a meal. Yeah. It's already in your mind, meals. Yeah. And I've become this. Yeah. In so many ways. Yeah. Ace and I always talk about this. Like, it's like we wake up and think like meals, not in I don't think an unhealthy way, like like this is a part of the joy of life. And I want to get to where it gets off track. Sure. But, so I'm coming to North Carolina and you immediately go to what are we going to make?
What are we going to eat?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause it's the way, I mean, it's just fun. And the other thing that I love about like cooking and preparing meals like that one that takes a really long time.
3 days.
Is that, is that it's.
Because you made the lasagna by hand.
Yes.
Or from scratch.
Yeah.
With hand.
the meat sauce.
Yeah.
The meat sauce you have to cook and then like set in the fridge and then, do all this stuff.
Yeah.
But is that it creates this, it forces me into the present moment, right? Of like, it's kind of meditative in that sense of like, you're doing the thing right now with my hands that are making the thing, right?
That is going to have real implications.
Yes, it's going to have real implications.
It's going to keep somebody alive.
And I'm just really big in like prayer or meditative or whatever. It's like thinking about people and it's like wishing them well and health and all these things. And I do feel like when I like get emotional, when I cook, it like really feels like I remember you coming being like, oh yeah, like I was thinking about you and Jen, you know, like, and you're thinking about people as you're putting it into place. And it just feels like this really beautiful way to like love on people, you know? Yeah. So I think, and I also just eating together, you know, and when you think about traveling and being in places that have like cultural foods, like there's just something about it that I think that just communicates to us on a level that like I don't even like psychologically understand. Yeah, totally. It's like physiological, you know, that like when you're eating things in places with people who love it and appreciate it, that something happens that just like ties us to this earth and this place and this time in a way that like I don't really know of a lot else that does that for me. So it's like a really beautiful
I don't know of
thing.
anything actually,
right?
Hearing you say that.
Yeah. Like it that
does what food
does that
would do.
Yeah.
In community and in
Yeah. And then when you tie in like, oh man, like birthdays and, you know, just the things that we celebrate.
Memories.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the best. It's the best.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, so you went into nutrition.
Yes.
And you loved it.
Loved it. Worked with kiddos for 3 years, which was so fun because they don't have shame around food like we all do.
Talk
you
about
know?
That.
Yeah.
Yes,
so like that. You get a little 6-year-old. Well, like so the parents come in and they're like, yeah, we like get up and make the oatmeal and then we, you know, get them off to school and I'm like, okay. And then the kids like,
and these kids you're working with, they're like,
usually they've outgrown their growth curve.
Gotcha. Okay.
But occasionally they've gone under. So it's really just anything outside of what we have deemed the normal growth curve for kids. But kids will come in and just be like, yeah, I ate 3 Pop-Tarts. What? You know, like,
right? Because they're not.
Sometimes I
eat
4. Yeah, and they're like excited about it because there's like no shame.
Yes,
and it's so fun because they're so honest. You know, and you get to talk to parents, and this is something that I feel really intense, and I've now been, we talk a lot about substance use disorder in nursing school.
Substance use?
So substance use, so like alcohol or drugs or things like that. And really even though the links are not, perfectly clear, the tactics that I used talking about obesity or weight or whatever with kids and adults is really similar to what I hope to use someday with talking about substance use disorder, which is you talk about like why weights might go up, right? And you talk about why someone might become addicted to alcohol. And there's a lot of reasons. And very rarely is it that somebody's making a bad choice in their life, right? Or like it's not, if we look at like the causes of obesity, like it might be a tiny slice of the pie is like what I'm choosing on a day to eat for breakfast.
So what is going on?
Yeah. So, and again, not technically an expert, just interested.
Yeah, you're just a doctorate within an nursing.
So really, when we look
so good though.
Yeah. And what I've found is when I'm able to explain or try to explain some of these things to kids and to families and to individuals, there's like this kind of relief that happens because it's like, oh yeah, this is not my moral failing. Right. Like this is not like I haven't made poor choices and now I'm living with the consequences. Yeah. This is a huge problem that really stems from like systemic things. Yep. Right?
Yes.
Which, I mean, everything kind of does. Yeah. So like when we look at food choices, like we think, okay, just go and pick the vegetable. But the vegetable,
that's the right thing to do.
That's the right thing to do.
Air quotes.
But when we look at like price point, we know that if we're trying to keep kids alive, that a bag of Doritos is going to give them far more calories, make them feel fuller, at least in the short term, than the like 2 ounces of broccoli that you could afford at the same price. So like what poverty has contributed to obesity is far greater. I mean, far greater than anything else, right? Wow. So when we look at that, or we look at just like adverse childhood events, like trauma that's happened in childhood and how that relates to our coping mechanisms and our own ability to soothe. Like that's what we see with substance use disorder too. Like,
and that's where they're similar.
Yes, like there's not, it's not like life. A gateway drug. It's that like trauma.
Doritos aren't a gateway.
Yes, like trauma creates our brains that need to be soothed. And like we learn a lot of different ways of soothing them. And a lot of those are like inevitably gonna lead us to some unhealthy places. But it's very normal and it's not bad to like want to make yourself feel safe or to feel better.
So is that your approach?
Yes. So
we're not even to where you are now, but back to nutrition and working with kids. Yeah.
So I'd say like
that's your approach.
Yeah. Like, hey, you know what? Like I'd be like, okay, our weights go up for a ton of different reasons. Right. Our weights go up because we eat some more salt one day and we don't the next day. Yep. Like there's so many reasons that our weight goes up and down. And ultimately, like your genetics is going to determine a ton of what happens. So I always explain that. And then I always explain that nothing has been worse for weight than diet culture.
Oh, I want to talk about that too.
Right?
I need to be taking notes.
This is...
Chris, remember this. Diet culture.
So I would always explain.
And we're coming back to, the other one too.
So this is when I was working in bariatrics. This is when I would really... Because kids, well, honestly, in our... like small town, 6-year-olds weren't put on diets. That is not true in other places in the U.S. But
Dallas probably.
But so the bariatric place, I would always explain, okay, you started dieting at what? And then they would always say something like 16, And I'd be like, okay, what was that? What did that look like? And it looked like restricting a ton, right? So even if you are say no. Yeah, exactly. Say no. Don't eat anything that, sounds kind of good. And even if you're able to gain like the max is like 10% body weight is what most people can lose with diet interventions alone. Even if you do that, your body has retrained itself to basically the moment you start eating anything, it's going to rebound and you're going to gain more weight. right?
Is that metabolism?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's metabolism.
I've heard
yes.
of that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to like lose it again.
This is why diet culture
is so bad. And then we're not even getting, this is just the physiological.
Right. The mental.
Right. Exactly. But physiologically, you lose again 10%, you gain back another 5 to 10 pounds. So you're on this trajectory, Pastor D, right? You're on this trajectory of really gaining more weight and not being able to get it off just physiologically. And then when we look at what psychologically the impact of restricting does, what we know from research is that there's pretty much these deprivation guilt setups. So you deprive yourself. You feel great about yourself.
Oh yeah,
look at me. I'm winning the game.
Is hungry.
Yes,
yeah. and I just watched the Remember what you're saying, but I just watched The Office last night when I watched and the weight loss episode where Kelly.
Oh my gosh,
Mindy Kaling.
I'm one stomach flu. Wait, was that
away from my goal weight, and she took a tapeworm.
Oh my god!
And she's like emancipated. This like. And she can't even, and Michael Scott's trying to like bring good body image in because he like did bad body image before. And so he's trying to like like compensate. So he's like, Kelly, stand up on your chair. And she's just like, she can hardly stand. He's like, help her up. And she's like, this tapeworm is just, but the pressure. And it's funny on a show. But I know about 1 billion.
Yes.
Well, I don't. But
everyone,
1,000 women who would take a tapeworm if it meant.
Yes.
Okay, so back to what you were saying.
The deprivation guilt.
Yeah,
so
deprivation
you deprive
guilt.
Yourself, you feel amazing about yourself
because
it's willpower and it's all the things that we've been told. Yes. But it doesn't work.
Really?
It never works. If we deprive ourselves from anything, it's the more we want it. Like
that's so true.
Like, and I'm not saying that
so
people might not occasionally
white knuckle it for a couple years, right?
Like I'm not like there are people who this might not be true for, but the vast majority of people it does not work for. Every single one of my patients, it does not work for me. It does not work for. Like so, you deprive yourself, you feel great, and then inevitably you eat something that you feel bad about.
Yeah, which could be
literally
a piece
anything.
of bread at that point because your brain. I wouldn't. I mean, I don't know.
Yes, no, for sure. It could be
like a 90-calorie piece of bread,
like because there's so much sugar in it. You know, like literally,
it gets so ugly.
Good foods and bad foods is just terrible.
Okay, let's come back to that too.
Which for kids is really helpful. But so guilt sets in, and then when we start feeling really guilty, what do? We self-soothe with the things that make us feel better. Which for a ton of us, not just for people who've reached more extremes on the weight spectrum, like for a ton of us, food is the way that we soothe.
Yes.
So then start eating, feel more guilty, and you go back to that. And then you just deprive yourself when the diet starts Monday or whatever kind of trope you have around that. And it's a really tough psychological thing to get out of. But what I found is that when I would explain this to people, what physiologically and psychologically happens when we diet, and then they say, I've been doing this for 40 years. Yeah. Like, I'm like, no, like your weight gain is because of this. Like you are not weak. You are not morally failed.
It's not them.
No, it's
making bad. Yeah.
We have a society and a culture have said like that there's some moral failing associated with weight gain. And that it is worth feeling bad about, which I mean, to unpack that takes a lifetime. For all of us. And you have to keep doing it all the time. But yeah, it's worth trying to at least start.
Oh yeah,
it's rough
because the cycle is.
It's terrible because you just end up feeling bad about yourself all the time. I think
like for a long time it was just like it got the like idea or whatever that it's just a female thing.
Yes,
but it's not.
Oh no,
at all.
No.
There's a reason Dustin doesn't eat bread.
Yeah. There's lots of reasons.
Like this, he does. He has some which are.
But actually, you know what's funny is they've created a new. It's not new, but okay, I got to remember orthorexia, which is the obsession with healthy food. So it's people who, maybe have maintained a healthy weight, but cannot put things that they have deemed unhealthy in their body, and the big
obsessive.
Yeah, totally. The big thing about any psychological disorder is that it has to like cause harm to you, either emotionally or physically. I think that's true. That feels true.
I love that you look at Chris. He's the resident. Yeah. He's the resident.
Yeah, but so and orthorexia, while it might not have like terribly, bad physiological manifestations, it's psychologically really hard to maintain relationships and to go out to dinner and to celebrate birthdays and that like it ends up causing intense
over
distress.
like looking at the menus. I mean, like I'm gonna choose this. I'm gonna do what? Yeah.
Oh. So it's tough, man.
What do you think culture? Where the systemic thing? Where does that?
I mean, I think it comes from
obviously the standard, or like magazines.
Yes.
I just listened to this podcast of a celebrity that doesn't let anybody Photoshop her.
Oh, is it Jamil?
Jamil, yeah. And so she's on The Good Place.
Yes.
With my girl, Kristen Bell.
Of course. And my guy, Ted Danson.
And your guy, he needs to be a little bit my guy too, though.
I YouTube videos of him just talking all the time. I think it's because he looks like Mark.
He does
like
look like Mark. He does look like Mark.
I love him so much. Ted Danson. Anyway, no photoshopping.
So she was in this podcast, she was talking about culture, body image, photoshopping. And she says that she's lost millions of dollars because she does not allow anybody to Photoshop her. It's in her contracts with Vogue.
Yeah.
And she's becoming a pretty big time celebrity after The Good Place, which is like an Emmy winning, I think, Grammy something.
Yeah.
And so in The Good Place promo, she said, you can look and they're all Photoshopped, but she's not.
That's
and she says, I have a little, this is like a drop dead gorgeous.
Yeah.
I mean, beyond words.
She's beautiful.
Like a freak of nature, a unicorn in the gorgeous department. But she has a muffin top. Because every single
person, that's how our bodies are made.
Unless you're Dustin. The Greek god, I like to call him. But that's how our bodies are made.
Yeah.
And she's like, I am done.
Yeah.
Telling girls that they shouldn't have one. And obviously obesity is horrible to the body, to the psyche. I mean, I don't think anybody, you would never say like, just go eat yourself into comas, right? But like there is something really wrong here. And so she's like, I want young girls to see that. I don't think she said this, but like I'm sure she knows she's gorgeous, right? Like, you can be gorgeous, you can be confident, you can be on a TV star, and still have a little fat hanging over.
Yeah, totally. And the other thing that I think so I'm working on my project that I have to do at the end. So I'm who knows what I'll end up doing, but what I've aspired to do is on bias training for providers regarding weight.
Providers as far as doctors?
Yes. Yeah. Because what we've found from a lot of literature is that there's a lot of really healthy weights that we probably haven't accommodated in the U.S. So like what turns out to be more impactful than weight is how we treat people who are higher weights. So like we know that systemic, like culturally causing stress to people who are overweight will like raise their blood pressure. Yes, right? And then when we have doctors who attribute everything to weight, like you come in with a cold, well, if you could just lose a little bit of weight, I'm sure you would get over this, right? Like what do the two things have in common? Almost nothing, right? That like when you have a society or providers who attempt not to have this bias, that like people can live pretty healthy lives being a higher weight than we think. But but like when we look at, people of color have higher rates of hypertension, but like that's most likely not due to genetics, right? It's because they've been living under systemic oppression. And when we look at people who've gained weight, like, some of these things that we've always attributed to obesity might have to do with how we've treated people. Yeah. And like these are theories. So
this is interesting though. So for providers, but also it has to be a huge cultural thing too.
Huge. Yes, huge. And provider, so I guess what I would aspire to, I don't know if I'm getting too, redirect me if I'm being
this is so good.
What I really aspire to do is, actually, Ashley and I were just talking about this on the way here, is you just don't assume anything about the way that a person lives based on their body size, right?
Yes.
So like I have never been asked if I exercise at the doctor. I've never been asked how I eat. I've never been asked these things because it's assumed that because of my body type, I do those things. Right?
Yeah.
It's not
like people would
true.
assume Taylor, our youngest sister, is 90 pounds, is healthy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like there's
no.
tons of
the most unhealthy of all of them.
The cheeseitarian. Love you, Day.
We love you.
No, but the thing about making assumptions like that is, like, I've seen providers do this so many times. Like, you walk into a room with somebody who's gained weight, and they're like, "Okay, cut out this, cut out this, cut out this," and I'm always like, "How do you know they're doing that?"
Right.
Like, I know so many people who eat so much better than the average person who have a higher weight because of a lot of different reasons,
there can
right?
be thyroids, right?
Everything,
and there can be,
yes. And so what I kind of get on, this is like my thing in my program. I'm like, I like care about this a lot. So I'm like, okay, my intention is to talk to every single person about what they eat and how they move, right? Because we know that if you look at the way that people eat, people who eat healthy, regardless of what size they are, live longer.
Yes.
Right?
There it is.
And the people who exercise, regardless of what size they are, live longer. People
and are probably happier.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
I'm willing to bet depression is way down. Like, Yes.
So the thing about
it's all about how we look.
Yes, exactly. So the providers
You're about
humans.
health.
Yes. I'm about health.
Right.
But like providers being human are like, I want to be thinner. Like, because I want to look different. So this person must be, so they impose all of these things on people. Yeah. So really the goal for me as a future provider is like, okay, we always talk about this because the goal is to keep people alive and healthy. Yep. We know that weight matters a lot less than how you eat and how you move. So like if you come in to see me and you're saying like I started yoga and I'm doing it 3 times a week. I'm like, perfect.
Or I'm running the track 4 times a week.
I'm not going to tell you to like cut out ice cream.
Right.
Like it's really, I just think that there's a balance that can create health for people.
Which will actually result
in people like being healthier. Yes, for sure. Because I do think like we know that weight can affect hearts and we know that weight can affect, bones and joints and things like that. So there are some, I'm not saying like we throw out the whole system.
Sure.
I think that there's a
different approach.
There's a different approach.
Right. That could result in actual
health
change
for people, both mentally and physiologically. Yeah.
Okay. Before we move on, for somebody whose kids, I have a friend, and he was telling Dee and I the other day. He was talking about his kid, and not in like a negative or like bad way, but just like they're like gaining weight rapidly as a child, right?
Yes. Yeah.
What would you, because you worked with kids for many years and right? Okay, so it's not bad for a parent to notice because it does affect kids, I would imagine, as they grow and as they're in
being a kid is hard. Being a heavy kid is
hard. So hard. Okay, so help parents with a 9-year-old. Okay. What would you, if someone's sitting in front of you in your clinic, where do you start? Where do you go?
Yeah. So I'm going to try to do this fast because I know. Okay.
Oh, no, we're good.
Are you sure?
Oh, yeah, we have so much time.
A few things. Time. One thing is you take the approach of we're going to make some changes in the family. Okay. And it's going to be for all of us.
Okay. So you're not singling that you don't single a kid out.
Don't single anybody out.
So this kid doesn't have to go gluten-free and the rest of the family eats Domino's.
No, exactly. So really what I would say is the parents should start is like, hey, I'm really interested in being healthier.
This is great.
I want to live longer because I want to see you guys get married.
They're modeling it.
Yes. So I'm going to make some changes that I'm excited about. Okay. So everybody's going to make these changes. It's all positive.
It's not looks-based, guilt-based.
Anytime you can avoid talking about, I was just saying, anytime you can avoid talking about weight and the way that you look is really important. My friend just had, my sister-in-law / friend. Cassie just had a baby. And I was saying something like, Ruthie. I said something really flippantly like, oh man, I feel so ugly in this. Or like just made a flippant comment like that. And she goes, you look great. But if you say that in front of Ruthie, I'll kill you. And I was like,
she's already thinking about it.
It's like, yes. Like, just like real. And she's 3 months old.
She's going to protect. Ruthie's going to be one healthy girl, though. Because her mom is already getting stuff out of her head.
Yes.
that I don't look good, so don't post it.
Yes.
What if you're having a great time?
Exactly.
Who cares if you have a double chin? You're kayaking.
Right.
Exactly. Like, yes, oh my gosh, Cassie, good on you.
So cool.
It's amazing. Okay.
So the first
lifestyle,
thing is all
family, and
healthy.
it's a happy, positive thing. I want to be at your weddings. I want to walk you down the aisle.
Yes,
okay,
exactly.
Love it.
We all want to do this 5K. Like we're all going to do this, right?
Yep, love it.
So then that's the first thing. The second thing is, especially with kids, you don't make good foods bad foods, okay? Because that's just gets that deprivation.
Break that down
thing.
Practically. What is it? What do we do? What would a normal person do that would do a bad good food thing?
Normal would be like, oh man, I want dessert so bad, but I can't have some until after I eat my broccoli.
Okay, gotcha.
Like good food, bad food.
Gotcha.
We put it in this. What I like to do, which is a little cheesy, but sometimes food's always foods. We always eat broccoli, and sometimes we have cake.
Okay,
right?
Yeah,
sometimes food's always foods.
Yeah.
But the most important thing, and this is my gal Ellen Satter, who was this. I think she's a PhD nutritionist. I think she wrote this book, How to Get Your Kids to Eat but Not Too Much, and it's about picky eating. But I think that the principles stand for everybody, which is parents decide what the kids eat.
Yep.
Parents decide when the kids eat. Kids decide how much.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's good.
And that's perfect.
That's what you want. Okay.
Because you want the kids to be able to monitor what they need, how much they need, and
this
when
goes
they
back
feel
to you
full,
in the movie theater being like, listen to your body.
Listen to your body because you know.
Right.
But here's the problem is with kids especially, the timing is challenging because they're sleepy and then they get tired and then they need more energy. So they just turn into these snacking monsters.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I got 2 of them.
This creates trouble.
Yeah.
Right.
Snacking.
Because we
literally
lose.
This morning at 7 a.m. Jen finishes his breakfast and goes, "Can I get a snack?" He goes and gets Pirate's Booty. I'm getting ready for the podcast. Can I get another snack? Goes and gets Teddy Grahams. Snacking monsters.
Snacking monsters.
Yeah. And this is not good.
Their ability to tell when they're hungry and when they're full. Right? So like a big thing is, when am I hungry? When am I full? And if you're snacking all the time, you're always at a 3, right? So then when you start, the first signal us humans get to stop eating is when we don't feel hungry. We get a signal later that's fullness. But when we're eating, the first thing you're like, oh, that went away. That feeling of hunger.
Okay.
But if you start out a meal, the first signal you get is, I'm full. Does that make sense?
Okay, wait. No.
Okay.
Go back.
So like I start a meal. I'm sitting down to a plate of spaghetti.
Yep.
I'm hungry.
Yep.
I start eating.
Like you're really hungry.
I'm hungry.
Okay.
Like, hungry. I start eating. And at about 15 minutes in, I go, oh, I'm not hungry anymore.
Okay.
And then I know that when I keep eating, I'll get the full signal, right? And I'll stop.
Yep.
But if you start out not hungry, the first
if you start
signal,
at 3,
if you start out
the grams,
at 3,
the Teddy Grahams and the Pirate's Booty,
the first signal you get is fullness, and you normally go past it. Right? Because you don't get that first one of like, oh, I'm not hungry anymore.
So
I slow down.
Hungry.
It's way better. Not starving, because I always joke,
there's
you go
another
from a 0 to a 10. Where if you start out at like a 2, you might eat to a 7. So you want them to be hungry, and snacking confuses the heck out of it.
Interesting.
So
for parents,
when they eat.
So
breakfast.
That's controlled
lunch,
by me.
Snack, dinner. And if they want to eat in between,
you support that structure?
I absolutely
breakfast,
support
lunch,
that
snack,
system.
dinner.
Yes. Breakfast, lunch, snack, dinner.
But not breakfast, snacky.
Birthdays, sometimes.
Ryan's part of you. More snacky.
Yeah. So, and parents often feel really bad about this, especially when they have picky eaters, because they're like, he's
so hungry. I gotta give him something.
Yes,
right.
And I gotta. But what you find is that when you actually let them go like 3 to 4 hours,
hungry,
they eat stuff.
Oh, they'll eat.
Right?
Lettuce.
They'll eat stuff. Where if you send them into a meal having, filled up on the stuff that they like, they're like, I'm good. I'm just going to get a snack later, because they're always better.
That's totally it. The snacks. That's what I'm in with Jude and Jen. It's I'm full, mommy.
They're perfect. Though.
But they're spoken like a true auntie. I'm full. I'm full of my macaroni, which is horrible in itself.
Oh, it's not horrible.
Okay. Oh, I'm learning. It's not good food, bad food.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes foods.
Sometimes foods. So sometimes / all the time we have macaroni. That's really good, though.
Yeah. So when they eat, and then parents also decide what they eat.
Mm-hmm.
So this is also a really hard one, especially when you have a picky eater, because you're like, they won't eat, you know? But you get to decide, because kids don't make good decisions when it comes to food. They make great decisions about how much to eat.
Yep.
They do. They're great at that. But they're bad at choosing what to eat.
Yep.
So my big thing is put a lot of vegetables on the plate. And even if they get left there, I would always tell people, buy frozen vegetables, put them on the plate. And if kids see them, I'm not going to remember the stats anymore because it's been a while, but if you see them like 20 times, you'll start eating them. So you just put a tablespoon on there and let them look at them. Yes, a piece.
Let them
something
look at
easy, and don't force them. Like you do not tell them what to eat, or like you don't tell them like you have to eat your peas. Or you have to eat this. You just let them eat what they want to eat, and you throw it away, and you don't make a big thing of it. I don't know what the word is for this. Yeah, like a big conflict.
Yep. Oh,
because that's just most kids are just gonna push further back on that.
So with dealing with kids, you do it as a family. So no one's singled out.
Focus on health.
And you focus on when to eat, what to eat, and let them decide how much to eat.
Exactly.
Amazing.
That's the thing. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yep. And it really does work.
Oh,
I've seen parents come in. Oh, and then the other one is liquid
like sodas
juice and juice,
juices,
because those confuse the hunger signals too.
Okay,
because if you're just sipping,
is there
on
a
juice
good
all
liquid
time,
or juice? You think?
Yeah, just water. You know,
classic. Just water.
I'm sure there's
out
other
of a glass pot
with a glass straw.
Your nephew Max will be very proud of you right now.
I know. Oh man, Max, my favorite.
Max is our nephew, by the way.
Oh my gosh, Max, when he was little, got really mad at me one time. This is my favorite Max.
Okay, tell it.
He gets really mad at me, and he's got it in his head because I was probably a little intense about his food, because I just become a dietitian.
Yeah, you're just in it.
And I love it. So I'm like, no, this is like so good for your bones, and it's so good for your brain. And so he's got it in his head that I like
he cares about his bones or his brain at 3 years old.
Actually, you know what they care about though?
What?
Soccer. So you always got to find what they care about. So you're like, if you eat this, you will be able
Dustin
to run
this with them.
so fast.
You'll be extra fast.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so pull in the thing that
they care about.
But what I hear you saying is all positive.
Oh yes,
always positive.
Negative. It's just not. It's not effective. It makes you feel bad. It makes them feel bad. It's just a bad idea.
It's bad. Okay,
so Max gets really mad at me one time, and he goes, "Lodi, I'm gonna take all the healthy foods. I'm gonna throw them at you."
That was his insult.
That was like, what would destroy
Jody? I'm going to take all these peas and I'm going to throw them at your face.
Throw them at you.
That's almost as good as when he told Ashley that he was going to flush her down the toilet. For me, he was potty training. Do you remember this day? He would potty train. Correct me if I'm wrong. He was fine in preschool. He would go pee-pee and poopy all day long in preschool. He'd get home and wouldn't perform. And then he told Ace he was going to flush her down the toilet. Oh, man.
Max is so funny.
Wow. I'm going to take all the healthy foods and throw them at
and
you.
his little lisp, the healthy foods.
Lisp. He got rid of it, unfortunately.
Oh, it's so sad.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. So unpack diets really quick. Yeah. I got a lot I want to get through. But are there any diets that you do think?
That's a great question.
For example.
Okay, give it to me.
I told you I was going to go on keto.
Yes.
And you're a great practitioner already because you're like, okay,
Tell me more.
Tell me, tell me why. Tell me more. But people do get results.
Yeah, sure.
So unpack. But what you were saying earlier, the results are constantly fluctuating. Yeah. So is there any diet?
Yeah.
And if there's not, say it, right? That you would be like, oh, this is a healthy approach. And then follow up. I want to hear your healthy approach to people who do want to lose weight, because some people do want to, and it's good for them too. It will make them feel better
for sure
if it comes from positive reinforcements and all of these things, right? So talk diets and then talk like how does somebody, and then closing. I want to hear like a really healthy approach to like food.
Okay, it's probably going to be the same.
Okay, good. So just
for
go
diet
for
and
the
approach.
Go for it all. Yes.
So, I think that back it up.
And maybe talk about working out as well.
Yeah.
Like and how and how to not become obsessive. And
the first thing that I think is helpful to think about is like, what are the results I'm after?
Okay.
Right. So like if the results are, I'm already like healthy weight. and I want to be smaller.
Which is culture. You have to look beyond culture to what is a healthy weight.
And the BMI is flawed, but it can be helpful. So like if you look at your BMI and you're like, oh man, I'm well within that healthy range. I just want to be smaller. That I would use a lot of caution around. Like that's not an appropriate person to try a diet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or that's what I would more delicately say that in an appointment, but I would really stress that.
Yeah.
Because anything you have to do to get smaller as a already healthy weight person will be extreme.
Okay.
And it's
which so you do bad cycles.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
So that's the first thing. The second thing I would say is there a diagnosis that you've been given? Like there are some diagnoses like chronic kidney disease or hypertension. The diet is not well researched, but like, or high cholesterol, you know, like there are some things that it's like, oh yeah, it would greatly benefit my health.
Yeah.
Were I able to reduce my sodium intake, reduce my cholesterol, reduce my saturated fats. In which case, the way that I would attempt to implement that, or if you are at a weight that you're like, oh man, it's hard for me to move, it's hard for me to exercise, it's hard for me to enjoy my life in a way.
Totally.
Like, I had patients, who were like, I hate getting out of the car at my kids' soccer games because I just, you know, like it's getting in the way of life. Twofold. One,
the healthy approach to being more healthy.
Yes. Like I think it has to start with, oh man, there's a lot to unpack in this. And it's a really good question that I have. Like it's a question that I'm sure I'll be asked and I don't have a great answer to right now. But I think it has to start with what do I think is going to happen at the end of this? Like, do I
continue in this pattern?
Yeah. Or if like I lose 50 pounds.
Gotcha.
Right? Like, what's the impact of that going to be? And truthfully, there might be some highly helpful, positive social impacts. Like people might, honest to goodness, treat you better, which sucks, but is true. Right? But one of the things, so I worked in bariatric surgery, and
explain what bariatric
so bariatric surgery is, well, back in the day, it was stomach stapling. Now it's routinely like a Roux-en-Y gastric bypass or a sleeve gastrectomy, where you take out part of the stomach and you occasionally change the small intestine to lower the amount of food that you can take and also to decrease absorption of it. So I would have patients come in wanting to have bariatric surgery, and they would say like, I get that, like I'm not judging this because I feel this way about my life all the time. And I'm like, oh, if I could just meditate, I would be such a happier person.
Right. If I
but
could
but they would come in and say like, I want to have a better relationship with my spouse. I want to be a better parent. I want to do this. And I feel like my weight is getting in the way of all this. And I would,
and are sometimes they right?
Yeah. Well, that's what I would say. I would say like, yeah, we suck. Like yes, like sometimes your spouse will treat you better, you know, and that is awful, but true sometimes,
but
you know?
That is reality.
But for the most part, your job is still really hard. And your kids are still going to be tough.
And your spouse could find another problem.
Yeah, right? So I would always try to manage expectations because with bariatric surgery,
that's really good.
Two things that get worse, this is so wild. I don't know if we've talked about this.
I don't know.
Like hypertension improves, high cholesterol, like all the stuff after the surgery. The two things that have been shown to worsen are alcoholism and suicide. Which is
it did not solve the
devastating.
problem.
And that's like, we don't know that for sure, but that's the theory that like you think things are going to get all better and then they don't. And it's still really
because
hard.
The focus is so much on weight.
Yes. And again, like it makes a hard life harder. Like there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But there's still things that are just tough. So I would want people to like do some work around like, okay, what are my expectations around this? And what do I think's going to be, we do this exercise all the time, but like you wake up tomorrow and this is different. Like what do you imagine has changed? Right. So that's a big one before you start anything is just managing the expectations of like, what's going to be better. And then the second thing is I would probably, if somebody, two camps, I got the person that's like, I don't want to be self-reflective. Yeah. Like I want to lose some weight so I feel better. Make it happen. Just like make it happen. Yeah. Then I'm like, find a diet that works for you. Get a trainer, get accountability, like do that. Yep. Right. Because that will probably work at some level. Yeah. Yeah. And then it's just really what works for you. So like if you try some form of keto that you're like, I can do this forever. I love it. I love it. I never want to do anything else. I'm going to question it, but it might be true, in which case, like, do it. But if you're like, I really want to, like, solve the thing in me that feels broken from dieting, you know, and the part of me that feels like I'm not good and I do have a moral failing, I would probably recommend Intuitive Eating, which I haven't read in forever, but you know.
This is full circle.
I should really read this again. Intuitive Eating.
Yes. Okay. This
maybe
is great. This is what
Yes. But
because most people are going to want to look better and feel better and live longer.
Yes.
And how do we do that in healthy ways if we're not going to go do some crash? You know, like Kelly Kapowski on the, or no, not Kelly. That's Saved by the Bell.
No.
Kelly on The Office.
Yes.
What was her name?
I think you're. Are you right?
No, Kelly Kapowski, Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, Kelly.
I forget, but like if we're not going to go take a worm, eat a worm, or we're not going to do.
We actually want to do this healthfully.
How?
What does it look like?
What does it look like? Yeah,
I think that, and so I'm going to recommend this book, saying that I haven't read it in.
I feel
7 years,
like it will hold
7 to 8 years. I feel like it would too. So the book is Intuitive Eating. It's written by 2 women. I think they're both dietitians. They could be psychologists. But it's really about, how we have just completely ruined our ability to like feed ourselves appropriately because of diet culture, essentially. And how could we retrain our brains to eat in a way that is healthy for our bodies and our brains? So their big thing is, how do I know when I'm hungry? How do I know when I'm full? So they just take you through like, here's what it feels like to be hungry. Here's when you eat. And the main, so they go through some really practical things like that I like. But the main thing that is so scary for people who've been dieting their whole lives, which again is most of my patients.
It's most of everybody that's under 40 years old. Is
unconditional permission to eat. So that's it. Like you have permission to eat.
So fun.
That's an amazing response, Jamie. Most people hear that.
Because you and Ace and I are going out to lunch after this, and Taylor and Teddy might join us. I'm already like,
No, it really does work. Like when you tell yourself.
And this is in opposition to negative reinforcement. To, unconditional permission to eat.
So it looks
pack this out because the legalist in me is like, oh my gosh.
No.
I'm at Olive Garden 3 times a day for the next 2 months. And then I'm unhappy.
And then you're unhappy.
With the results.
So what this looks like is
Olive Garden.
This looks like is Olive Garden.
No escaping. I know it's not
We've
fine.
been hitting up the OG a lot recently, actually, because we got some gift cards.
Perfect.
And it has become a thing in our lives.
Let me guess what you get. Let me guess.
Well, I get 2 different things.
Let me guess.
Okay.
Minestrone soup.
No, I like the wedding.
The zuppa Toscana.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Zuppa Toscana. You get the salad, obviously, because it's amazing with extra
the jalapeno,
extra tomatoes
cheese.
And pepper cheese.
Yeah.
And then I bet you get the chicken marsala. No,
I get either the mushroom ravioli. And it's good. Or the zoodles. I know.
No,
but I kind of like them.
See, this is great.
I kind of like the zoodles. Well, yeah. Okay, so this comes back to
let's do this. Take this.
It's this intense checking in process,
and
that's what intuitive eating
is. Walk it through.
So it's part intuitive eating. It's part intensely checking in, and it's part of just planning. So let's start with intensely checking in. What does that look like? You're going to Olive Garden for the 3rd night in the row because you have gift cards. Right? Mark could probably eat 5 bowls of fettuccine Alfredo and feel like $1 million. Yes. Oh, yes.
Because he just is $1 million.
Well, he started getting a little bit of reflux. That he, quote, thought he was having a heart attack. Oh my gosh.
It'll do that. He's late to the game.
So the first thing that would happen was we would say like, having looked at our schedule for the week, Wednesday we have an opening for Olive Garden that we've said we're going to go to Olive Garden because part of it is planning. Right. And then part of it is checking in. So if we're like, it's Wednesday, we're planning on going to Olive Garden. It would look like being like,
I love that we didn't choose like a highbrow, like you're in Seattle. Like you have the best. What's the chef?
Tom Douglas.
Tom
Yeah.
Douglas.
Yeah.
We should go to Olive Garden. I just love it.
So it looks like being
Okay.
like, okay, what? It's not saying what have I eaten today.
Uh-huh.
It's not saying have I exercised
Okay.
today. It's actively avoiding those questions.
Okay.
It's saying what sounds good,
Okay.
and not just like, ooh, what's bad that I could eat that would make me feel good. It's like truly saying.
The more I hear you talk, the more this is completely psychological.
Oh, it like
it has to be 95% of it.
It totally
like everything
is, right? Like,
oh my gosh.
to say like, what do I actually
So
really
as you're
want?
approaching Wednesday night with Mark.
Yes.
You have trained your brain to not be like.
It's
yes,
a
of
constant
course,
process,
yes.
but this is what I've tried to do.
Right.
Yes.
And this is amazing.
What do I actually really want to eat? And sometimes I really do want to eat zoodles.
Right.
Like it turns out. Where
Right.
if I went in there being like, I gotta eat the zoodles, I'll take the chicken Alfredo, and then I feel awful about it. Versus being like, ooh.
I love that the chicken Alfredo was better.
Right.
That shows your health level right there with like your healthy relationship with it all.
Yes.
That's amazing.
You decide, you really try to listen. And I really believe that if we are able to get out of these systems of like, these are the bad foods, these are the good foods, and we can actually listen to our body. This comes the Snickers thing.
And there we are in the movie
Snickers
theater.
thing is, then you really taste your food.
Yes.
And that's hard when we have shame because we eat fast when we have shame, right? And we don't want other people to see us, or we don't want to even acknowledge it to ourselves.
Right.
So if we eat really fast and we don't really taste it,
right.
and it goes down, like we forget about it.
And then
try
we
to
just
forget
get
about
guilty the next.
And then we feel terrible.
It's horrible. It's all horrible.
But if you eat your food and you really taste it. So the Snickers bar is, I had this one, I think it was a patient. Yes, it was a patient at a support group. She said, I just covet Snickers bars. I just want them all the time. And I have been not eating them for years, right?
Oh, wow.
And she was,
but it's what she wants.
But it's
how
what
I
she
feel
wants.
about Coke still sometimes.
Yes.
The drink, not the drug.
Do you watch New Girl? You know what he's like?
Yes.
You know what I really like is a little cocaine. Do you remember this part?
Yes. I mean, memory. What's the rest?
Winston. And then he makes Schmidt
Winston's
go
the
and try to buy cocaine from the people.
Oh, like he wanted real cocaine.
Okay, it's a joke. We don't
We
support
don't do
this.
cocaine.
We don't do cocaine.
I mean, does your body intuitively want it? I don't know.
Oh yeah, sometimes in the morning.
I wish.
I
I don't even know what it feels like. Never done it. Wouldn't know how to find it.
Same. I don't know.
Do
where
you
to find
shoot
it?
it? Do you just
Actually, you know what?
I think you do snort it. I think you know.
But you can also shoot it. I just read this book about substance use.
Back to intuitive eating. Snickers.
Thank you.
This patient
was saying, I've wanted Snickers forever. And I've been depriving myself of them and feeling amazing. And then I ate one. And of course, I ate like 3. Didn't even taste it. And so we were unpacking this.
I've done this at night with chips.
Yes.
Dad makes fun of me. It's Dad's
chips?
favorite thing about
Doritos?
me, I think.
What's your go-to? Oh, really?
Yeah, but I'll be in the closet. Like one night he was, because we both wake up in the middle of the night. He was staying over.
Is he drinking the baking soda?
He might have been. His baking.
It's the
2
best,
a.m.
man.
So he's out on the couch, and I think and I didn't know he was awake. But of course we wake up at the same time in the night. And so I go into the closet, and I'm just like, right? And this is the Snickers thing. It's just like, I had tried to be good all day.
Yes. I
wake up in the night.
This is very good, Jamie.
And
tell me more about this.
And so, but I'm starving.
You're starving.
I'm starving. And you, like you said, you don't eat, you never eat a 0 or a 10.
Because you want something that's going to be high carb, going to get right into your bloodstream. You never make good choices when you've been depriving yourself all day.
You never make good choices when you've been depriving yourself all day, which is true in almost every area of life, right? Except for cocaine. Okay, back to the Snickers though. This is good. This is so helpful.
So then this person, this woman was like, and then I stopped and tried to really taste what I was eating.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And this is what she said. I'll never forget it. She said, the peanuts were so stale.
Oh.
And the chocolate was medium.
Oh.
It barely tasted like anything. When she slowed down to really taste it,
realized
she didn't even like it that much. And she was like, and then I could eat a little bit and put it away.
Oh my gosh.
So there's something about checking in before and checking in during to be like, what does this taste like?
Do I like
this instead of do I just feel shame and comfort and something? Like, what does it actually taste like?
My word.
Which is a kind of a radical thing to do.
Wow.
Because we don't do it. Yeah. So that's the kind of checking in process.
Okay.
And then on a really practical note, which...
Don't look at the clock. That's my job.
Okay, I'm so sorry. On a practical note, it's all about planning. If you leave your house and you're like, I don't know.
Okay, unpack that.
So
because that can get obsessive.
Yes, it definitely can.
I have a friend who will check menus beforehand and know and then the other friends are ordering the whatever. And so how do you plan ahead without being obsessive?
Yes,
is that go
really
back to retraining
question.
the brain?
I think it's a part of it is saying like, okay, here's what I actually like to, I don't know if this is probably just obsessive in another way, but I'm like, if I don't bring, so I have 12-hour days of classes sometimes. And if I don't bring 4 things to eat, I will go and eat out. And I think about the money, which is obsessive in a different way.
Totally. But that's
helpful.
different. Yeah, I'll have Dave Ramsey for that.
Where I'm like, I'm going to end up spending $12 eating
and
something if I don't bring this. So
I still remember being in Durham and Mark studying up in the library at Duke.
Yeah.
And you bringing him a sandwich on like brown bread with 4 carrots in it. Full carrots, not baby carrots.
Yeah. We're kind of weird about money.
Carrots. Yeah. It's great. Yeah. There's a reason you could buy a house in Seattle.
It's a tiny house. It's the smallest house you've ever seen.
It's on Lake Washington. They have a yacht that pulls up to it. But that is true to you. I just want to reinforce what you're saying. You live what you're saying.
Yes.
In that there are 4 big carrots.
Yes. If I don't pack my food, here's what happens. And this is what happens with all my patients. Like you leave your house and you're like, I'll find something. I'll make a good choice.
Sure. But you don't.
You don't.
Because you've already established we don't make good choices
when we're super hungry.
Hungry or stressed or whatever, which by 10 a.m. we're all stressed. In this
so at
culture.
10 a.m. you decide to start eating you decide to start eating chips or whatever's around, right? And then you snack on that until 2 p.m. And then you're super hungry and then you go out and eat. And then of course you're so hungry that you're not going to order the salad. You're going to order the pizza and the breadsticks and the Coke. And then
which you aren't supposed to.
No.
If you're eating them to enjoy.
Yes.
And
or
intuitively.
If that's kind of a part of your like general plan. Of course, like
totally. This is making sense.
Right?
Because it's the same choices. With different reasoning.
And different outcomes.
Because
if you eat something that you feel bad about, you end up just eating stuff.
Which is the girl with the 4 Snickers. That she didn't even realize she didn't even like it that much.
So what I do is and this is what I would encourage all my patients to do is you just make a plan for the week in terms of like dinners. So you're like, okay, I'm going to make this. Mark's going to make this.
This is great practical.
We're going to make this. And then I figure out like...
But you err on the side of heavy vegetable.
Yes.
But
always
we went through Whole Foods 2 nights ago.
Yes.
You grabbed your vegetables and then we had to go pick up our baby Taylor. In and out.
And then
she sandwiched and we're like,
decided
that
to
sounds good.
Yeah, a little chaser of a cheeseburger.
Chaser broccoli with a cheeseburger.
And there's no guilt about that.
And you didn't feel bad about it.
No, not at all.
See, that's amazing.
Yes, because I wanted it and I was still hungry.
Yes.
Right? And it sounded awesome.
Right.
And it tasted awesome.
It was really
It was so good.
Okay, that's so good.
Yeah, but you get the plan and then you let it, you like let fluidity happen, right? So like I bring all this food with me to school, but then we'll frequently be like, oh, let's go get pizza and work on that project that we have to do.
Yep.
And you do it and you eat that tomorrow for lunch.
Yes.
What you brought, right?
Yep.
Like you allow fluidity, but if you don't plan, is it Russell Wilson always says, a failure to plan is a plan to fail.
That sounds like Russell or Pete.
You have to plan ahead or else you're just going to make poor choices that you're not happy with.
Good.
So, but it's a lot of work. And for people who are like caretakers to children or spouses or parent, like it's so much work.
Okay. I answered these quickly because but I really want to get to them.
Okay.
Okay. Somebody just had a baby. Like after I had Jude, I texted you.
Yeah.
What recipes?
Yes.
You didn't put me on a diet plan, but you sent me that curry soup or that's so good.
Yeah.
Like different things, right? And so somebody who genuinely doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
And their brain's washed out.
Yeah.
It's really not coming from I mean, it's always kind of coming from culture and society, but they just genuinely want to feel better.
Yes.
What what do you do?
What
would you do? Like,
yeah,
because diet culture clearly is not working.
Yeah, not
so
helpful.
like Monday to Monday.
Yeah. I would, as much as I can, make a plan and make breakfast the same thing every day.
Okay.
Because who has time for anything?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Make lunch pretty much the same thing every day.
Mm-hmm.
And then split up dinners based on who's there and what you can reasonably do.
Yep.
And my big thing with choices, so really, if we're really talking about like how to healthfully like maintain, like reach or maintain a quote unquote healthy weight, it is all about eating. Skipping is the worst.
Okay.
It is the worst thing you can do for your weight. It's the worst thing you do for anything. So it's really about, how do I, and that's another thing that people always feel
for
relief.
2 days won't make me look like Britney Spears in 1998.
I mean, you already look like Britney Spears in 1998.
Great family culture coming through right here. You're a 10. You're a 10. No, you're a 10.
No, so yeah, you like skipping is the worst. So you just like, honestly, this is the only time you're supposed to force yourself to eat breakfast. Like everybody comes in and they're like, I don't like breakfast. I'm not hungry. I'm like, you're not hungry because you've never fed your body breakfast. Feed your body breakfast for 10 days.
Great.
You'll be hungry on the 11th day when you wake up.
Okay.
So eat breakfast every day. Do not.
Because that puts you at a 3.
Yes.
So that you don't go.
Then by lunchtime, you're like, I could eat.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Versus being like, I'm not. Yeah.
Right.
So eat breakfast, eat lunch, plan a snack.
Okay.
Between lunch and dinner. Well, depending on your day.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe a little protein with it, but
my intuition says.
And then dinner. And the only thing that I'm really not intense about, but if somebody really wants to make changes, is you already said it, which is just emphasize vegetables. Don't freak out on how much fat is in something. Don't freak out. Just make half of like any plate you make vegetables,
after
and
Jode.
It doesn't matter.
Just make it green.
Just make
rainbow.
A ton of vegetables, and pretty much if you look at actually calories, it'll even out to something pretty great.
Okay, so I want you to send me to post later when this releases great vegetable.
Okay.
Because you say eat vegetables.
Yes.
How?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
Like if you're not trained in vegetable eating or cooking, so I want you to send me some great vegetable stuff practically. Okay. And then
I'll tell you the best practical vegetable
right
thing.
now.
You just buy vegetables at the grocery store, either cut up or whole.
Okay.
And you just put them on a pan.
You just go for it.
And organic is fine.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah.
But a vegetable is always better than anything else.
A vegetable will always be better than a Hot Pocket.
Always. Even if the Hot Pocket's organic, like a vegetable's going to be better. You know what I mean?
A broccoli out of like what is it they spray?
Like the
field?
With Agent Orange.
Agent Orange. A broccoli covered in Agent Orange is still going to be better than Hot Pocket organic. Okay, I'm hearing you.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
vegetables.
So you just roast them. Just throw some olive oil on it. Put up 425.
Jody,
that's just.
How do you roast something? I know because I've learned now. Because
I'll send you the recipe. But Mark and I.
But how do you roast something for real?
5 to 10 pounds of like broccoli.
Serious?
Like we eat. All we do is put in like 3 to 4 heads of broccoli.
Okay.
And
you cut it up.
We
you got to break it down.
Yeah, we cut it up.
Yep.
Put some olive oil on it.
Olive oil.
Salt, pepper. Mark puts a lot because he says that vegetables should taste like a potato chip. Which is interesting. Chris is feeling it.
Agree. Mark is never wrong.
Yes, no, never wrong. So you just put some salt and pepper, and then you eat whatever you want with it. So like we get those Costco pizzas.
But you go heavy on broccoli.
We eat a whole pan of broccoli and a Costco pizza. Those
and roasting
minis,
means you broil?
425.
425 until it's charred?
Till it's whatever
little
you
browned.
like it. That's the way I like it.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we just do that with literally all the vegetables. We did cabbage the other day.
Heavy on vegetables. Yeah. And then you eat a Costco pizza if you want.
And like there's absolutely no guilt with that.
So good.
And
so good. Okay. Last thing.
Okay.
Are we
going to talk about our Enneagrams?
Oh, we can totally talk about that.
We don't.
Last thing, food and mood.
Okay.
Because Dustin, he's been really open with people about his anxiety struggles. And I don't remember how many years. It was way before Jude. So probably 8 years ago or 9 years ago. You know about this.
Mm-hmm.
He had a total adrenal failure. His immune system was shot. The monsters and caffeine, which I am so against. When our interns are drinking energy drinks while I'm teaching class, I'm like,
Yeah. Bad
Pour
food.
that out.
Bad food. That's actually
that's-
maybe a bad food. I'm actually
It's
kind
the
of
one
with
bad
you.
food.
It's the
Hear
bad
me, interns.
food.
I was right. I have a registered dietitian, doctorate with in nursing. And I've got her one bad food.
Yes.
But I'm really passionate about it because his adrenals failed.
Yeah.
His thought, I forget it all that was shot, but he was passing out. He seized, you know these stories.
Yeah.
And so our friend, the naturopath, Matt Engove, was like, food matters.
Yeah.
And so we went full on, like, no caffeine, which obviously there's moments for caffeine and different things. And now he's reincorporated. But so we went full on for 1 year. All we changed, he was never medicated.
Yeah.
He only changed his food.
Yeah.
Different person.
Yeah. Did you do it too?
I did not.
Oh, yeah.
And failure to your family story.
No.
Thank you for that. We do this as a family. You know, I'm like, your adrenals failed. Sorry, mine are still good. Sorry, my adrenals are amazing. And I have like a tenth of your stress levels. But that was when I became a believer in food and mood.
Yeah, totally.
Because there's real anxiety and real depression, which we've also talked about.
Yes,
that food would not have helped us with. At different times. You need a Randy.
Shout out medication. Yeah. One or two.
I shout out Randy. So I'm not saying food change solves everything, but for him, it did.
Yeah.
So talk food and mood and what sort of things can incorporate for somebody who, and probably I would guess exercise as well, which he had going already.
Yes.
But there are correlations to exercise and depression, right? And
yes, for sure.
Even like my favorite podcaster, Dax, he's, in AA.
Oh, yeah.
And when somebody calls him, he's not a coach. What do they call him? Sponsor. He sponsors a bunch of people. And he says if somebody calls him in the throes of despair, he goes, go run for 30 minutes and call me.
Wow.
Because there is something that happens within, I don't know, endorphin dumps or something. So food and mood. And if somebody is just feeling like off. Not like seriously depressed where you need extra, sources, but like just off. What sort of foods contribute to what sort of moods?
Yeah, that's a great question that I honestly feel like Dustin would probably know more about that than me.
He will love that you said that.
One of the things that I would recommend though is, sometimes there can be organic causes of some of these things. So like oftentimes like thyroid issues will present as like depression or just lethargy or like, those kind of things or anemia or so it's not a terrible idea to just get a baseline set of
get a blood
labs.
test.
Yeah. Because sometimes they'll sneak up on you, especially when stress is high. And then the fix is really, you go on an iron supplement for anemia and like things get better.
So some people could feel tired and they just need something from they could buy at Whole Foods.
Yes. Like anemia is real, man.
What's anemia?
Like low iron.
Okay.
And it feels terrible. People will come in like feeling depressed, asking for depression meds. We run the labs. Their iron is
low,
terrible. Put them on and they feel better. That's more rare. Most people know when they're depressed as other correlations, but
this
it's
is
not uncommon.
Right.
Like, that happens. So I think baseline labs would be a great idea. The other thing that I have found just personally, because I don't know like science on this stuff, is exercise, mindfulness for sure. So like for me, it's
what
yoga.
Does that look like?
Yeah, for me, it's like yoga.
Okay.
So it's like doing something or sometimes cooking.
Yeah, I was going to say that's become my mindfulness. Dustin just got a deer today.
Oh,
which is, I don't know if that's good news.
I think that's amazing.
Okay. Oh, wow.
What do you think?
I'm great with it because I'm about to smoke it in my new smoker.
That's so fun.
Right? Because we'll eat it. Like this is full on, right? But,
oh my gosh.
But he told me like he's been planning and plotting and stalking and, all this.
Deer?
Yes. He loves the chase. Dustin and the deer, I'm guessing. He just loves the hunt. Is that not so him? But so when he texted me today, oh my gosh, babe, I got it because it's been like 2 months in the making and the deer keeps eluding him and it's a real cat and mouse thing happening.
Like Moby Dick.
Very amazing. Yeah. That we could unpack that, but we don't have time.
So he got this specific deal.
Melville could have wrote Dustin real well. But so immediately I go to looking up smoking things, right? Because it's the mindfulness of I'm going to take this thing that he worked hard to do,
and you're going to honor it.
Honor it
by doing something amazing.
And I'm going to smoke. And if I have to wake up at 2 a.m. and put in more chips into the smoker, I'm going to do it because it's that's
using your brain, but it's also shutting off your brain.
100%.
Which is
so what are
some best?
What are other mindfulness practice?
So
yoga
has been huge for me. Like that's
Cookie.
Like
what could it be for other people? Hunting probably for Dustin.
Sure.
Right.
But also like those little apps that people do.
Oh,
like
I have
meditative.
them.
Yeah. Some people
guided prayers.
I find really a lot of anxiety with the meditation thing. But yes, guided prayers.
But some people, I've been doing guided prayers every morning.
Like,
and
like music that music can be really helpful, like the soaking. Do you remember?
Soaking was a thing.
Soaking was a thing.
It's holding up.
Yeah.
Different words.
Yeah.
Same thought.
What's the other words?
Well, mindfulness now.
Oh, yes.
Or meditation.
Yes, for sure.
But it's the same thing.
And also
shutting off your brain while
body checks. My therapist would have me do this whenever I would be in
what's a body
really
check?
Intense. So she would say just like scan your body.
Okay.
And
mentally.
Okay. And notice what any feeling. So like if I had a little twitch in my back, like you just you don't change it, you just notice it, and you just do that over and over again, and it's just putting you in your body, and it's using your brain enough because you're like, what does my foot feel like? What does my ankle feel like? But you're not.
I've heard that for sleep tactics too.
Yes,
you go down your body.
Exactly. Those body scans that can be really those I find, especially if I'm like reaching a 6, 7 on an anxiety scale.
Yep.
I just compulsively doing that, which you also do in Shavasana and yoga. But other mindful things, I'm trying to think of like if Mark has any good ones.
Could going on like Button, Dustin's mom.
Yeah.
I feel like she goes on drives.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure.
And looks at scenery.
Because that's
she loves to look at ducks. You're using your body.
Yeah.
You're doing. It's not going to bed.
Right.
Ace and I were talking about this last week because Randy.
Yes.
who's become a feature on this podcast, who will hopefully come on.
Oh my gosh, yes, please.
But he was big about that. Like, don't just rest, replenish.
Yeah. Yes.
And that sounds exactly what you're saying is do something that, like, your body is moving, but your brain is like
doesn't
calming.
have to be
calming
in whatever you're.
And it could be different based on people.
Totally. Yeah. But yeah, I think mindfulness things. And then as far as food goes, I find that for people who deal with anxiety and depression, and specifically I found this to be very true for myself, that when we're in the throes of things, we lose our sense of, I don't know, like self-preservation or something, but like I stop feeding myself very well or like at all, you know, because it's not the most important thing. The feelings that I have, the sadness that I feel, my desire to be in bed far outweigh my desire to like nourish myself appropriately. But having not eaten enough, being low calorie,
is
like
only
it's
going
to be so much worse. Because I think about the tests that I've taken, having not slept or not eaten appropriately, like my brain does not work nearly as well.
Right.
So I do think that back to that, like, don't skip meals. That is something that,
and that's doable. People can do that. It's
exactly.
a small step because
it's not
you don't have to go on keto and mind under your fat.
Yes.
You can eat oatmeal for breakfast every day. You can do that.
Yes.
And as you do, you'll stop gorging the 4 Snickers and realize,
that I'm actually
really
kind of full,
good,
or that maybe I don't want that.
So good.
Yeah. But mood that's really interesting.
Yeah.
You and Dee should talk about that on here.
It has to have a correlation.
Oh, it is,
right?
because as I said, I got into nutrition, it's chemistry. Like food is chemistry in our bodies, and what we know about anxiety and depression is
in our culture is rampant.
Yeah,
with anxiety and depression.
Yeah.
And there has to be some aspect.
Yeah, of what we're doing. Yeah, that isn't just our cell phones, but also partially.
Totally, it's not all like seeing Britney Spears in 1988 and being like, "Oh my gosh, I wish." But like legit, like things we're putting in ourselves and things that we're like, and how we're handling it all.
Yeah.
That's so
how
good,
we feel about it. Yeah,
and how we feel about it. Okay, so in closing,
please
tell me this. Okay, somebody wants to start. They have been running rampant as a family.
Yeah.
Asking for a friend on just unhealth, right? Like the snacking culture that you talked about, all these different things. What's a starting point? Because nobody's going to start eating 10 pounds of broccoli like you and Mark are. As of, so how do you start small? What are small ways you can start to incorporate health into your life?
Great question. The family or the individual?
The family. Okay. Because I'm going off your suggestion to do it as a
the whole family. Yes. Good. Oh man, what would I think? Well, if you were sitting in my office and we were having this conversation, I would say, what do you want to do?
Okay.
Right.
So I want to look like Britney Spears in 1998.
Get real dehydrated.
Okay. But deep down, okay, I'm thinking I want my kids to be healthy.
Yeah. Okay.
I want Dustin and I to feel good, which Dustin's not a problem. He'll eat a chicken breast every meal. But I want to feel good and I want my kids to be healthy. Yeah. And I would also, honestly speaking.
Yeah, please. Be honest.
I would like to look good.
Good. Yeah.
Not good like I'm 20.
Yeah.
I'm okay that I'm 40.
Yeah.
But I'd like to look good for 40.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think
it's very French of you. That's what the French say.
Yeah. Since you love France, I take that as a compliment.
Sure. Yeah. So those would be the goals.
So those would be the goals. Yeah. And so I think anybody who's honest is going to say like, I'd like to look good.
Yes. We all want to look
society.
And feel good. Yeah. Yeah.
Again, I don't need to be 20.
Yeah.
You know, but so what are small steps?
You know what I would say?
And is there something in my brain that makes me want to look good that?
Yes, of course. There's something in all of our brains that if we could get rid of, it would be great.
Okay.
But we can't.
Can we?
No. You can do work around it.
Okay.
Like
I'll have you back.
Some of the
things?
Some of the things that I have found to be very helpful.
Please.
Is
how do you work around that?
Yes, like body image stuff. Like
Go ahead.
No. Well, I think I will not.
You can,
but
I'll
say
edit anything you want.
So
say anything. We can edit it.
One of the things that's really, really helpful is looking at yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like honestly, looking at yourself. Because what I've found to be true is that if I'm feeling bad about myself, I avoid myself, like looking at myself. So really
like in the
looking.
Mirror?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. In the mirror. Really looking and being like, oh man, what if? And I'm saying this as a very, very privileged, thinner woman, you know, so like if I struggle with
you
this,
have a lot of great things going for you genetically, and you still have thoughts.
Still have stuff all the time that comes up, right? So a big part of it is being like, okay, I'm gonna look at myself and say like, oh wow, my hips do look bigger to me, and like I'm not gonna look away from, like I'm gonna look and be like, oh yeah, that is bigger.
Yeah.
And it feels kind of scary because you're like, no, it's fine. I'm totally fine. I just don't have to look at it. Or like,
if I just don't eat, they'll go down.
Yeah. And Ashley and I were talking about actually my real vulnerable thing.
Yeah.
Is I have this varicose vein that I feel intense about.
Really?
Like I can't
in your leg?
Look at it.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very weird. But if I'm trying to be good, I
You'll
look at it
stare
and
at
it takes the power out of it. So that's a part of it. I don't want to unpack that anymore.
Oh, I just want to call Randy right now.
The second thing is I do things, and this one sounds kind of weird, but I like to wear less clothing oftentimes with myself because again, I feel like if I'm feeling bad, I put
cover
more.
Up.
Yes, I cover up and I put more clothing
this is so good,
So
Jody.
in my own home, I walk around with less clothing on to just make myself feel more comfortable.
That's
that wasn't even the
amazing.
And then the third thing that I do,
this is so good.
The third thing that I do is yoga, and again, I force myself to look at myself because yoga
there's
oftentimes
mirrors surrounding you.
Well, actually, my yoga studio is very woo-woo, and there's no mirrors.
Okay.
But I do force myself to look at myself because oftentimes you're in positions that are like not flattering, right? Like you're twisting and there's
nobody
adipose tissue
looks
around.
Good doing those.
And I force myself to look at it because I'm like, this isn't bad. This isn't wrong. I want to like take the power out of this.
This is so
by
good.
being like, that's a really normal part of my body. You know?
This is amazing.
Yeah, that's a really good one. And then
looking at yourself.
Yes, like truly looking at yourself. And again, I say this with the understanding that I have a very privileged body that's like widely accepted. And I have found that just for myself to be really, really helpful. That isn't something I'd like tell patients to do, of course.
Yeah, okay.
But
that's good. That makes sense a little bit.
Yeah, it has.
It's kind of like
really helpful to
me.
Like bringing
going
stuff
around in therapy right now, just looking into things.
Yes.
Like staring into the eye of the monster.
Bringing light into it.
Yeah, right.
And saying like, this is not going to destroy me.
Right.
To really acknowledge. And the same with like pain. Yeah. Like to really acknowledge I have pain around this is scary, but it's not going to destroy me.
Right.
You know, like to really acknowledge. And I have done a lot of work around just like body image with myself and to be like, ooh, I still have stuff, you know? And that doesn't change the work that I've done or how good I am. Like it's still just a part of that. Yep. But the thing that I was going to say about your initial question about what somebody can do, is what I hear you talking about is this like family centeredness with like you and Dustin and the boys. And there's something about health or eating or whatever that can kind of like knit you all together, you know? And I think that the way to go about some intervention that would like acknowledge that would be to just try to eat as a family. And I don't know how much you do that, but like at least like set a goal for like 2.
We rarely eat as a family. Yeah, normally they eat and then we eat.
Yes. But maybe like 2 times a week. Yep. You're like, okay, we're going to eat together. And maybe the boys are even going to like help with something because this has been such a loving, important thing in your life recently that to involve them in it could be stressful, but could also be like something that's really beautiful.
Right.
And then you get to really feel like, everybody's doing it together.
And then food becomes beautiful.
Yes.
Not an ugly thing that's going to make me feel nasty, but like it's a family thing now.
And when a lot of people find that when they start cooking like for their children that they make different choices because you think about what goes in them. Yeah. You like when you're cooking with your kids, you're like, oh yeah, I would like you to have some vegetables, but
that's so good, Jodys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other tips?
You're doing great. Oh boy. For like practical food stuff.
Practical foods. Yep.
You know, I think this is like everybody says this, but it's true. Don't buy stuff that you don't want to eat because like you're going to eat it.
Okay. Gotcha.
Like always.
Gotcha.
Like always.
So don't buy it.
Don't buy stuff that you don't want to eat. And it's okay to buy stuff that's like quote unquote not good.
Yes.
Like you can keep chips, but you just have to acknowledge that you're going to eat them.
And enjoy
eat
that.
all of them.
And
right.
This is really coming across well.
Yeah.
Yes.
So so like Marco sometimes or like I'll go to the store sometimes and I think a ton about food. I like love it. This is like my jam. I still, if I go to the grocery store hungry, I buy Doritos.
Yep.
Every single time.
Yep.
And I eat them.
Yep.
All of them.
Yeah.
So you just like I sometimes will go to the store and be like, oh, Mark will love this, you know. But like I'm gonna eat it all.
Right.
Like it's
a lot of it is just being honest with ourselves.
Yes.
And we are the easiest people to deceive.
Think that we're getting away with something. So just don't buy stuff that you don't want in your house.
These are good life self hacks.
Yeah. Self hacks. That's cute.
Yeah.
But like, unconditional permission to eat is a big one. Like, do not feel guilty about what you eat, even if people are judging it and whatever. Like, you just as much as you and I again, I think as a person who, by society standards, would be overweight, would have a way harder time because people really will judge you. Like, truly. Where like I might feel that people are judging, people are probably not judging me. But just releasing some of the guilt ends up causing so much more freedom in our brains. And because ultimately, like I have wasted so much of my life thinking about food and body in a way that's not healthy.
Right.
Like so much of my life trying to find clothes that made me look a very certain way, you know? And like we just don't have time for that. Like
we also have brains.
We have great beautiful brains that should be used to do fantastic things.
Right, 100%.
For the world and ourselves. And it's really frustrating. And I do think that this is happened because, well, for a lot of reasons, but it's not like the reason that women are obsessed with this is for a lot of really sinister reasons, you know? Like, I don't think it happened on accident. Yep. I don't think that we have done this to ourselves.
No.
There are some really powers that be that have created this industry that is making a ton of money and making us subservient to it.
Yep.
And that trying to get away from that, it was real an act of defiance and intense, like as a woman, like I was sitting at the airport forcing myself to like take up space and it's hard. Like it feels awkward
Mm-hmm.
to take up space in spaces.
In spaces.
But like that's what I want to do. Like that's what
Right.
I'm aspiring to do with
Right.
how I think about my body and, you know, all that
Yep.
stuff. But it's a wild ride, man. You know what I mean?
I'm sure glad we all have Mark.
I know. What would we do without
Jodes.
Mark?
Thank you
Game.
for doing this.
Love it.
Love you,
Love
Auntie
it.
Lodi.
Love you.